Hello everyone, myself Sagma. I am from 3rd BTech. Now I am going to give a seminar about cellular mobile communications. In the cellular mobile communications, how I want to deal with the frequency reuse concept and the handoff mechanism. Coming to the frequency reuse concept, reusing frequency is the core concept of cellular mobile radio system. That is, if there are two users in two different locations, they can use simultaneously the same frequency. The reusing frequency indicates the frequency can be reused as many of times. Coming to next point, frequency reuse concept increases the spectrum efficiency. It increases the spectrum efficiency, but if the system is not properly designed, then interference may occur. Interference means disturbance. Interference between common use of same channels is known as co-channel interference. Or suppose if there are two channels which are using the same frequency, then the two channels are known as the co-channels, and the interference due to these channels is known as co-channel interference. The frequency reuse concept can be used in time domain or slave domain. If it is used in time domain, it results in TDM, that is, at different time slots is occupying the same frequency, that is time division multiplexing. Next, frequency reuse concept in space domain can be divided into two categories. First one, same frequency repeatedly used in general areas, then there will be many channels in that area. Same frequency assigned in two different geographic areas such as FM or radio stations. Next, coming to frequency reuse distance, the minimum distance which allows the same frequency to be reused will be depend upon here the minimum distance. The distance will be calculated as V, the number of channels in the vicinity of the center cell. For example, if there are two cells C1 and C2, then the distance between the two cells is taken as D. Next, type of geographic area based on the area. Next, based on the type of the antenna. Next, transmitted power at each cell site. Next, the frequency reuse distance D can be determined as D is equal to root 3k into R. Or suppose, coming to this example, let us consider two cells C1 and C2, where radius of the first cell is R and radius of the second cell is R, which is the cell C1 is using the frequency F1 and the cell C2 is using the frequency F1, and the distance between the two cells is D. Here D is the frequency reuse distance, R is the radius of the cell, K is the frequency reuse pattern. As D is equal to root 3k into R, if K is equal to 4, D is equal to root 12 into R, 3.46 into R. If K is equal to 7, D is equal to 4.6 into R. If K is equal to 12, D is equal to 6R. If K is equal to 19, as 3 into 19 in root 57R is equal to 7.5R. If we observe these values, K is equal to 4, K is equal to 7, K is equal to 12, K is equal to 90, the D value gets increases. So as the D value gets increases, the cell gets moved. The two cells are moved away from there will be more distance between the two cells, therefore there will be less interference between the two cells. Next, coming to, if the K value is very small, we need to measure the co-channel interference between the two cells, and if the K value is very large, then there will be a limited number of the cells. This is the frequency reuse concept. Next, coming to handoff mechanism. Suppose handoff mechanism, before discussing about handoff mechanism, next, how a call continues in a conventional telephone system. For suppose if there are two customers, suppose if there is a customer who initiates a call in one geographical location, and when he moves to other geographical location, the call may be dropped due to the limited service area or some other problem, or due to some other problems in the handoff mechanism. But in the handoff mechanism, if a user initiates a call and if he moves from one geographical to another geographical location, the call may get continuous. So let us consider two cells C1 and C1. The user distance is the C1 F1. Next, corresponding frequency is F1. Here the same frequency is used F1, and there are two cells introduced which are using the frequency F2 and F3, named cells C1 and C3. It is a unique feature that allows cellular system that operate as effectively in mobile radio environment. Next, the process of changing frequency is automatic by the system without any user intervention. Next, if the call starts at cell C1, which is using the frequency F1, then the call will be forwarded to cell C2, then the frequency changes F1 to F2. Similarly, the call forwarded C3 to C3, F2 to F3. Similarly, the call forwarded to F1, F3 to F1. In the general, during the call forwarding between the cells, the call may be dropped, but during the handoff mechanism, without any dropping of calls, the frequency may get changes. This is known as the handoff mechanism. Thank you.